if you haven't been keeping up with the news, then this past weekend on Friday, I want to say it was, Astroworld Festival, the first day at least, was going on. And there was a very, very unfortunate incident that occurred that resulted in, I want to say the latest numbers are 11 dead and several more injured. Like a lot of injuries during Travis Scott's set. There's a really serious problem here with these audiences. This is some next level stuff, and we really need to discuss the sorts of fan bases that are chronically doing this stuff, like the Travis Scott fans. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, the concert that I tried to go to, the Playboi Carti concert, ended up being canceled because the people outside were being too rowdy and trying to knock down the gate. This is a big problem with these sorts of audiences. The ragers, those people, they are caring more for, oh, I just want to have fun and shit like that. I want to have fun and rage out and stuff with general disregard for other people's lives. And that's extremely upsetting for me to see. I understand concert crowds are going to be crazy. Moshing's going to happen, but this is not how it's supposed to be done.
Everyone's screaming. I mean, it's like an airplane crash type of situation. People are screaming like bloody murder. It's kind of just like a matter of fact thought. I was like, okay, this could be it. This could be how I go.
Cougar says everyone around him was struggling to stay on their feet and breathe. At one point, he fell down and landed on someone he thinks might be one of the victims.
I remember looking down, and the person on the bottom was just laying there. And all I could do is I just slapped their face. I think they were unconscious. They might have passed at that point.
Houston police have launched a criminal investigation into what happened at the concert that left 8 people dead. As the mayhem in the crowd unfolded, the show on stage kept going. Before the Astroworld Festival, Travis Scott had faced criminal charges twice for inciting his concert crowds. In 2018, according to the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Scott pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct. Police say he encouraged a concert crowd to rush the stage in a 2017 show in Rogers, Arkansas. And in 2015, the Chicago Tribune reported Scott pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor reckless conduct charge for urging a Lollapalooza crowd to climb over security barricades. Houston authorities released the names of all the victims who died in the crush of people at the concert. John Hilgert was 14 and Brianna Rodriguez was 16. The other victims were in their 20s. Danish Beg, Rodolfo Pena, Madison Dubisky, Franco Patino, Jacob Jurenik, and Axel Acosta Avila.
Like I said, this is going to go into a couple of things that I want to talk about later, but about how, like, Travis Scott has a history of inciting this sort of shit, and that this isn't an abnormal situation, to say the least.
What's the history here?
The history is a pretty violent one. Back in 2017 here in New York, Travis Scott begged a fan to jump off a second-story balcony. That fan was luckily okay, but another fan says that he was pushed off and was ultimately paralyzed at that show. And despite that, Travis Scott talked to lyrics about how he needs to see injuries in the mosh pit. There's been other incidents in later years, in 2019, and so on. And the warning signs on this one go way, way back, unfortunately. But what did happen was, as a previous guest noted, is the show was stopped 3 times. And it wasn't stopped and then stopped permanently. It was stopped and then resumed. And that's a problem because after the very first song, fans were chanting, stop the show, and the show didn't stop. It went on for another 35 minutes or so.
What's not clear, at least not yet, is how much Travis Scott knew from the stage about exactly what was happening.
Yeah, correct. He didn't know. But again, there were warning signs, not just on Travis Scott's behalf, but look, just a month earlier at that exact same place in Houston, Energy Field, a rapper named Playboi Carti was scheduled to perform. There were early warning signs at that show that it was not going to be safe, and the show was canceled at the last minute. At this show, there were early warning signs way before Scott played, early in the day, that fans were rushing certain areas or were rushing in without tickets, and that there was going to be an unsafe environment. An AP photographer texted management to say, hey, this wasn't, something's not right here, something's unsafe, and yet the show went on.
There's a lot of blame that can be passed around here, to say the least. Obviously, number one, Travis Scott himself. Obviously, he withholds some of the blame here, at the very least, between the history of inciting incidents in the past, the culture he's cultivated with his fan base of being this overly aggressive moshing crowd, and just in general, like, not actually stopping the show. Let's talk about it. Detailed operations plan for the Astroworld Music Festival in Houston didn't include a specific contingency for a surging crowd incident, despite 3 people being trampled and hospitalized at the same festival in 2019. 8 people in the crowd of more than 50,000 died Friday night after a crowd surge, authorities said. Now, here's the thing with that. NRG Field is not that big, and 50,000 is a ton of fucking people. And also, the show sold out right away. They went ahead and sold more tickets for the show that was already, like, full and stacked up. I don't know. That's not a good look. November 2019, 3 people were trampled and hospitalized as thousands rushed to get into the festival. The victims were taken to the hospital with leg injuries, and the event continued as planned. A 56-page document obtained by CNN concert organizers this year addressed broad concerns about the sold-out 2-day event headlined by Travis. Based on the site's layout and numerous past experiences, a security plan been established to help mitigate potential negative issues with the scope of the festival. The document states potential for multiple alcohol and drug-related incidents, possible evacuation needs, ever-present threat of mass casualty situation are identified as key concerns. Paul Wertheimer, founder and president of Crowd Management Strategies, told CNN, the industry knows the dangers of a crowd surge. He said you need a specific plan to deal with potential crowd crushing. Doesn't appear that there was equivalent in Astroworld's crowd management plan. And now here's where we're getting into festival planning, Live Nation, and them sort of being at fault for not being adequately prepared for this. And I'm sorry, if 2 years ago you had 3 people trampled, you best believe after the year we've all had, they're gonna wild the fuck out. And that's the problem. The main problem with Travis Scott's fan base is that a lot of them are very young, and in most cases very privileged as well. That's the thing. To go to these sorts of shows, I mean, you need to have money. That's the thing. So, like, a lot of the younger fans come from pretty privileged backgrounds. So when you put people in that kind of people that are of that privileged, beliefs and mindset after being locked indoors for a year, they have a lot of shit that is boiled up to the surface, and they really don't give a shit about anyone else. And that comes from that privilege. So we're seeing here, according to this article, that they did not have much of anything in regards to a plan for if something like this were to happen. Let's talk about how Houston's police chief spoke with Travis Scott about safety before a deadly crowd surge. Before Travis Scott took stage Friday night at a sold-out Astroworld Festival, Houston police chief had a brief and respectful meeting with him to discuss safety concerns. I met with Travis Scott and his head of security for a few moments last Friday prior to the main event. I expressed my concerns regarding public safety and that in my 31 years of law enforcement experience, I've never seen a time with more challenges facing citizens, including a pandemic and nationwide social tension. I asked Travis Scott and his team to work with HPD for all events over the weekend and to be mindful of his team's social media messaging on any unscheduled events. Houston police investigating strange reports of drug spiking. Yeah, so Houston police are saying in investigating reports that at least some of the deaths and injuries may stem from drug injections. Chief Police Troy Finner said on a press update Saturday afternoon, that they're investigating reports of a possible drug spiking incident. So yeah, that also does play into it as well. There's some videos going around. I need to find it, but there's the one with the cameraman that I'm sure many of you have seen as well, where two concert goers were trying to tell the cameraman to stop the show, and a big problem with what that cameraman did was he just completely disregarded them. And that's not okay, because on live productions, the crew members that are wearing headsets, those are so you can communicate with kind of anyone that's on the crew. The director can give instructions to the camera people and vice versa in that situation. So the cameraman could have heeded their call and been like, yo, hey, director, we have a problem, and they could have canceled the show, but he was very disregarding of them. Okay, here's another one. People were really jumping on the cars as security personnel when they were trying to get unconscious people in the crowd. This shit's disgusting. Look at these weirdos. Yeah, watch. There's people. This fuck asses jumping on the fucking... This is fucking disgusting. And I'm pretty sure there is like some criminal deals going on with this, because that is obstructing an emergency vehicle. There's another... Let me see if I can find the one Kylie Jenner posted. Deleted this Instagram story of an EMT car trying to get through the crew. And all these people are obstructing that EMT vehicle. Like, I think obstruction of an emergency vehicle is some sort of crime. I'd have to look into that. All right, let's look at his bullshit apology. I'm absolutely devastated by what took place last night. My prayers go out to the families and all those impacted by what happened. Houston PD has my total support as they continue to look into the tragic loss of life. I'm committed to working together with the Houston community to heal and support the families in need. Thank you to Houston PD, Fire Department, and Energy Park for their immediate response and support. Love you all. Yeah, doesn't apologize at all. Here's another video, YouTube apology video.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and
no, they don't.
I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need, I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely.
You literally.
We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The City of Houston, HPD, Fire Department, everyone to, help us figure this out. So if you have any information, please just contact your local authorities. Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. And I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and just keep you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
Yeah. So that was some bullshit, right? These apologies aren't it. There's not a lot of accountability that he's taking, to say the least. And I mean, he should. Like I said, there's a lot of blame to be thrown around here. And Travis Scott shares some of it, for sure. Like, yeah, here we go. Yeah, I mean, Travis stands to stop defending him, saying it's not his fault when he green lights this behavior. No, he tells his fan to ignore security and climb the barricade. Takes part in the blame for what happened tonight. And then here's a Instagram post from... It's hard to say when it was from, but Ragers set the tone when I come out tonight. Be safe, rage hard. But in this video, they're climbing the fucking gates. And here, Rogers PD issued a statement that Travis encouraged people to rush the stage of his show, bypassing security protocols in the process. They had several people were injured, including a security guard and a cop. So it's close to Travis told CMZ that he saw available space in the general admission towards the front, so he invited seated guests in the back to come forward. We're told he had no intention of putting anyone in danger. He's arrested for inciting a crowd at Lollapalooza, and the same thing here. It's just like, dude, what the fuck? This is repeat behavior. He tweeted this the morning of, nah, and we're still sneaking the wild ones in. Like, come on, you already have a packed fucking event. And he deleted this, by the way, to cover his ass. Like, you already have a packed fucking event. You shouldn't be encouraging this sort of fucking behavior. Here's that mention of the balcony one that was mentioned in the video earlier. Yeah, the paralyzed. I want to say that's not the same one. But files countersuit in the case of fan paralyzed at a New York show. Ah, and here we go. Travis Scott, the same dude who left his former manager for dead while they were having a seizure in the studio. We actually have a video of said manager. Here's Shane Morris, who says he's the former manager.
Travis Scott is the worst person I worked with in my entire career in music. 8 people are dead and hundreds more are injured after Travis Scott's callous, reckless behavior at Astroworld. And I hate to be the one saying this, but I saw this coming and I tried to tell everyone. The story that D-Dot is telling is true. I'm Travis Scott's former manager. I'm the one who had a seizure, and I'm the one that he left for dead in a basement in Los Angeles. I originally told my account in 2013, and then it recirculated on Reddit about 6 years ago. The stories coming out of Astroworld and all the videos documenting the evidence are quite clear, and they align with what I know about Travis Scott. When he sees people in harm or danger, he tends to only continue thinking about himself. And to make it worse, he's been doing this for years at other concerts. I could go on and on about the theft of sessions, assaults, and all the lies that he's told in his career.
Anyway, he's refunding all the Astroworld attendees and he's canceling his day in Vegas appearance. Thankfully, okay, here we go. According to the Houston Chronicle, police and firefighters declared a mass casualty event at 9:38 p.m., 32 minutes after Scott's set began when crowd surges reportedly started. They reported that the promoters agreed to find a way to cut the concert short after the 9:38 casualty report, but the show continued until Scott ran through his planned set list and finished as scheduled at 10:15. What the fuck, Live Nation? What the fuck? I'm sorry, but if you got reports from the fucking cops that there's a mass casualty event and you don't cancel the show, like it fucking just goes all the way through, like, I'm sorry, you do what you can to cancel that shit immediately. Houston police chief defended letting the show play out, saying that an abrupt halt would have caused a riot, but noted that the festival was not undermanned and that the number of officers on hand should have been sufficient under normal circumstances. I'm sorry, but this is not normal circumstances. Like I said before, these audience are young, privileged people with little disregard for other people's human life. All they're going to do is care about themselves and wanting to have fun. And I can respect wanting to have fun, but not at the expense of someone else's life. That's fucking bullshit. And I'm sorry, the fuckers who killed people, the fuckers who curb stomped people, the fuckers who were on top of the emergency vehicle need to take a long fucking hard look at yourself and get your shit together. Because you are fucked up. You are so fucked up. That's pretty much it. There's like really three main people at fault. Travis Scott, Live Nation and the event organizers, and Travis Scott's fans.